Warning. The Intercontinental Committee on Podcasting warns that listening to the Get the Fluff Out podcast may induce euphoric feelings of nostalgia, which may lead to complete and total ratitude.
The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Fluff, get the fluff out.
Welcome to Get the Fluff Out. I'm Hollywood, along with your co-host, Dirty Jim. And thanks for joining us on our rockin' journey through the decades in our quest for the musical Holy Grail, creating the ultimate Gen X rockin' mixtape playlist. On each episode, we'll choose which songs from an album review that will make the cut to appear on the playlist. It's time to experience the soundtrack of our lives. Welcome, everybody on planet Earth. It's the GTFO podcast. Dirty Jim, how you doing and what's going on?
I gotta say, I'm not sure if that welcome to everyone on planet Earth is really being inclusive.
Really? What, you want me to go further out to the universe, to the Milky Way galaxy? What?
I would say everyone out there in the universe and beyond, because you don't know. And then someday, what if someday down the line,
Greetings, Earth creature. My name is E.T.
we meet these people from other universes and they listen to the podcast, and now all of a sudden we're like intergalaxy racial or something.
The Get the Fluff Out podcast rules. GTFO, GTFO, GTFO.
Dude, you just totally reminded me of the movie Galaxy Quest. Do you remember that movie with Tim Allen?
You know what? I did see that once. It was like they were actors, but they believed that they were actually on a spaceship. The aliens.
Yeah. Well, the aliens they were able to intercept the TV show Galaxy Quest, but to them they had no clue about acting and TV shows, and they named it the historical documents. They thought that it was actual historical video documents of real life people on Earth.
And then those people actually were like heroes or something, right?
Yeah, it's such a good movie. So funny. I mean, obviously it's one of those, stupid kind of movies, but man, it's a funny movie. Sigourney Weaver's in it, Tim Allen, Alan Rickman. It's a really, really funny movie.
I got to say, I do enjoy a movie like that sometimes because I'm a very, I'm a sophisticate. So when I can sit down in front of a movie where I don't have to think, where I don't have to be the brilliant self that I am, I do appreciate that.
Yeah. Funny stuff. Hey man, what's going on out there? What's been shaking lately?
I went out on a motorcycle today, and that's nothing new because I do that. But that's not what I'm telling you about. I was out on the motorcycle, and guess what I was listening to on said motorcycle?
Okay, so you're on the motorcycle, not on the TB. You're not on the thinking bike. You're on the motorcycle that has your stereo.
Yeah, the Harley is the thinking bike because it has no radio.
Right, and your Victory.
The Victory is the music bike.
Got it. Okay, so what were you listening to while riding your Victory motorcycle?
Well, I'm going to get the name wrong, but this little playlist that we're forming with this podcast, our Gen X rock and roll
really
playlist. So I'm listening to the playlist of what we have so far, which is like the first 14 episodes maybe?
Yeah, well, I mean, as of this point, we've released 12 episodes.
Okay.
So, and it's called Ultimate Gen X Rockin' Mixtape Playlist. And it's important to understand that title because out there on Spotify, there is a playlist called the Ultimate Gen X Mixtape Playlist. Ours, for the GTFO podcast, is the Ultimate Gen X Rockin' Mixtape Playlist. There's a distinction, right, Dirty Jim?
I'm pretty sure if they go to that Spotify and they look it up, they're going to be like, I'm at the wrong place when they click on that other one.
Yeah, they're going to be hearing like Madonna and Kajagoogoo and
And the only time I think we'll ever even mention Madonna is just like you did just now. It probably won't happen very often. So if you go to a playlist and it has Madonna on it, it is the wrong playlist.
So that's cool, dude. So you're listening to the playlist, and how did it sound?
It is, I mean, one song after another of just great music, which is obviously why we're putting this playlist together for ourselves. But we're doing it under the premise that we're doing it for the people, but really it's just for ourselves.
This is true.
We do this
clue.
podcast. Right, we do this podcast just to hear ourselves talk. But
we just broke down the fourth wall, Jim.
Yeah, really this podcast is just us talking on the phone like we've always done. And
for the past 40 years.
Yeah. So, but that playlist is freaking awesome because you could go from Ozzy to Skillet to the Beatles, to Queensryche. It's
Blind
great.
Melon to Billy Squier. It's such a good mix.
The only complaint I have is that Michelle My Belle came on, and I skipped right over that because. But that's what we're doing. I mean, we got two guys together, and when we really agree on a song, you can pretty much guarantee it's a good song.
Right.
But sometimes we're at such odds where I said Fluff Cut for My Belle or Michelle. It was called Michelle from the Beatles. I said Fluff Cut, and I totally hammered on it. And then you come in with a prime cut and shock the hell out of me. But still, with that prime cut, it makes the playlist no matter what. And now this song is forever on this playlist, and I can't get rid of it except to fast forward or just go to the next song.
Hey, but you know what? That's what technology is for.
Exactly.
And can you imagine? It's just like you're listening to this radio station back in the day, and you heard a song that you just couldn't stand, like, let's say, for you, Michelle by the Beatles.
Right.
You had no way of skipping through it. The only way you could do is by turning the radio off or changing the radio station. Now, when you're on Spotify and you're listening to the ultimate Gen X rock and mixtape playlist, you can skip any song that you'd like. And that's the beauty of what we're doing here. You can enjoy all this music that we've grown up listening to, and there's going to be some songs you're going to love and some songs you're going to hate. So do with it what you will. The only thing we want you to do is actually just listen to the music and enjoy.
It's awesome, but everyone's probably listening to this saying, boy, I wish I could just skip what these people are saying right now. But before we move on to the what we're doing today, whenever you go to Spotify and click on this playlist, make sure you click shuffle because all the songs are in order by band, but you click shuffle and it is going to shuffle it. And what a mix it is. Besides Michelle, everything was awesome when it comes to me. But you know what? Enough about this playlist. We will talk about it again, I'm sure, during this podcast or its companion episode, which is coming later. But let's tell them what we're doing today.
So today on the Get the Fluff Out podcast, we are bringing back a favorite segment from our previous podcast that we used to do called Lipstick and Leather. And on that podcast, one of our favorite segments was called Make Me a Mix. Now, with Make Me a Mix, the whole premise is we take a band, and usually it's a band that has a ton of albums over their career, and we take sections of their of albums, whether that's 3 or 4 or 5 albums at a time, and Dirty Jim and I separately will go ahead, we'll listen to the albums. Dirty Jim will choose up to 10 songs of his favorite from those albums. I will also do the same thing. We come here together, we start saying, how many songs did you pick from this album? How many did you pick from this album? And the idea is that generally, a lot of these songs do end up being, let's say, singles or songs that may have been on greatest hits. But man, we end up finding some really good deep cuts that you probably have never heard, and that's what we really enjoy, is introducing some of these deeper cuts that are going to make it to these Make Me a Mix playlists.
That sounds about right, Hollywood.
All right, then. So why don't we get right into our information today, and the Make Me a Mix that we've selected for today is the Rolling Stones. And the albums that we're going to be And the albums that we're going to be covering are between 1970 to 1976. So we're actually 1971, I should say. But so the first album we're going to be covering is Sticky Fingers, then Exile on Main Street from 72, Goat's Head Soup from 73, It's Only Rock and Roll from 1974, and Black and Blue from 1976. So from those 5 albums, we were tasked with finding at least 10 songs that each of us liked, and now we're going to discuss each of those albums and do our review for each of those songs. All right, Dirty Jim?
Don't you want to tell who was in those bands at the time?
Sure. Why don't we do that? Why don't I go ahead and do that?
All right. Maybe give them a little credit.
A little bit of background. So, okay, the Rolling Stones, they were formed in London, England back in 1962, and the band members that we're going to be discussing for these particular albums are Mick Jagger on vocals, Keith Richards on guitar, Mick Taylor on guitar for the first 4 albums, and we'll discuss that later, Bill Wyman on bass, and Charlie Watts on drums. Rest in peace, Charlie. So, Dirty Jim, why don't you go ahead and you just start introducing each of the albums, and then we're going to get right into the way we conduct Make Me a Mix.
All right. Well, the first album we're going to be doing is 1971, Sticky Fingers. And I'm going to ask you, Hollywood, how many songs did you choose from this album?
For Sticky Fingers, I chose 4 songs.
Wow, I chose 2 songs.
Ooh. Okay, before we even start, I have a prediction.
Okay.
I say that we are going to match at least 7 songs. I'm going bold. I'm saying there's going to be 7 songs we're going to match on, and which means that we'll probably end up with 13 songs on the playlist. That's my prediction. What's yours?
I'm going to say 8, and I will start off with my first one.
Go for it.
My first song that I chose, and don't tell me until after I tell you about this song, but my first one that I chose, and I'm sure you did too, is Brown Sugar. And this is an up-tempo bar band, catchy rocker. It's just an all-around great song. And everyone out there who knows the Stones knows Brown Sugar. Hollywood, did you choose Brown Sugar?
I also selected Brown Sugar.
Surprise, surprise.
So for me, from the opening strums of the first chords, I mean, obviously, you know this is a classic Stones song. I mean, to me, this is rock and roll music. I mean, you have fuzz tone guitars, rockin' piano, you have a dirty saxophone solo. I even love the end of the song where they keep repeating, I said, yeah, 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 woo! I mean, I love that stuff. So it's a really cool song. And Dirty Jim, I have a question for you.
Give it to me.
Did you know that the original title of this song was called Black?
Black? I had no idea. I did not know that. I could see why, but I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea as well. But to bring everybody up to date, I mean, obviously, if you're a Stones fan, you recently heard that the Stones decided to drop Brown Sugar from their set list.
I can see that.
And I found this op-ed piece online when that news was released that stated this. Now, listen to this quote from this person. They said, I think most people in attendance at forthcoming Rolling Stone shows will be glad that Brown Sugar has been dropped. Regardless of if you personally think it's racist or not, it is certainly uncomfortable. And that is the point most often missed by those who ardently proclaim that it's a disgrace that the woke brigade have canceled a classic. The song still exists. You can be enjoying it yourself within 10 seconds if you wish. But surely it makes it a better, more enjoyable, and more welcoming gig for everyone if offense is avoided where it can be. To put it very simply, it's simply nicer that way. And their decision to drop the track was based on soundness that put the conscience of their fan base first.
I could see where some people would be offended by this, but, there's a lot of songs I don't know the words to them, and they're probably offensive, and I just like the beat of them. But we should probably not talk about this too much longer. So
let's move on. Go ahead with your next one.
All right. So my next one from this album, this may offend someone too. It is Bitch.
Shocker.
And Bitch, it's a funky, gritty, up-tempo rocker. It's a great song. I mean, in order, those are probably my two in order of how I would pick them, Brown Sugar and Bitch. But the reason why they're in this order right now is because it came after Brown Sugar on the album. So, Hollywood, did you choose Bitch?
I also selected Bitch. Okay, so for me, this track screams 1970s to me. I mean, when I hear this song, this is a weird thought, but I hear the song, I can actually picture you, Dirty Jim,
Interesting.
in a completely non-threatening heterosexual way, dancing around your house like Tom Cruise in Risky Business.
Am I wearing tighty whities?
What? Hold on. So I have a question for you. Question. So have you ever put on a white button-down dress shirt with dark sunglasses and danced around in your tighty whities for a woman?
Oof. I don't think I've worn tighty whities since I was a teenager, and I don't dance now, and I definitely didn't dance then. And I don't know. I'm sure that I have never done that. I just can't get this vision of me in tighty whities out of my head now, and I'm kind of a little disgusted.
Okay. So for me, I mean, this song, I mean, it really has a raw edginess to it, and it completely adds a spit shine by adding in a horn section. I really dig when they did do that. So it's a great tune. It's making the ultimate rockin' mixtape playlist.
All right, don't mention that word again for the rest of the podcast. Or actually, you know what? How about the rest of our lives? Tidy whities will never leave our mouths. All right. I'm done with this album, so if you have any other songs, and I know you have two, let me know what they are. Let me know now.
Okay, so you selected 2, I selected 4.
Yes.
So here are my other 2 from Sticky Fingers. My other song is Wild Horses.
Oh, sentimental.
Now, this is an acoustic guitar ballad, and there's, very subtle acoustic guitar dynamics that are great to hear with headphones. So put some headphones on, you can hear some really cool stuff. And it has a simple chorus, but to me, it sounds great. And I think this one song, it is a beloved song by Stones fan. I think it's going to be a nice addition to the Ultimate Gen X Rockin' Mixtape playlist.
I got to tell you, on the motorcycle, I'm going to probably skip it. Just saying. Unless I'm out in the countryside.
But in the privacy of your own home, you may want to hear it. So
I'm going to hear it with tissue.
Yeah, I like that song. So the next one I have is Can't You Hear Me Knockin'? I absolutely love that extra distorted fuzz guitar riff in this track. I mean, Mick Jagger sounds great. I also like how he emulates that main guitar riff with his vocal melody in the chorus. You have that distorted guitar riff. It goes, da-na-na-na-na-na, and then Mick Jagger sings, Can't You Hear Me Knockin'? Oh, I love how he does that. And the song, though, it completely changes to an instrumental at 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Now, this is the part that probably Dirty Jim does not like much, but, I mean, the song is over 7 minutes long. It's a long song. The first 2 minutes and 43 seconds is music with singing. The next 4.5 minutes, it's an instrumental with a long saxophone solo. It's followed by a long bluesy guitar solo. I love that crap. It sounds really good to me. It's another song from the Rolling Stones making the Ultimate Gen X playlist.
Can I let you in on a little secret?
What's your secret?
Which will not be secret now. This was one of my, I forgot the word again. What word are we doing? Honorable mentions.
Oh, really? Okay.
Can't You Hear Me Knocking was an honorable mention, and the only reason that it wasn't one of my original picks was because of that 4 minute and 40-ish seconds of just, I mean, the first 2 minutes and 40 or 43 is great. It's a great, like, medium tempo, attitude filled rocking tune.
Yeah.
And then it just turns into a long jam for like 4 minutes and 40-ish seconds. But that's the only reason. The first part is awesome. And the last part isn't bad, but it's just long.
Yeah, I mean, but it's one of those songs that we still heard on the radio.
Right.
I think it was one of those songs that, because it was like 7 minutes long, more than 7 minutes, it was probably one of those bathroom break songs for radio DJs back in the day. You know,
Do you think they would have faded it out though? I don't know if they played the entire song unless they were, going to the bathroom or something, but I would think they would do a fade out on this one.
No, I remember hearing the song all the way through. It was just kind of like a Freebird song.
Okay.
But yeah, there were certain songs on the radio back in the 70s that they just played out the entire song. The DJ would go to the bathroom, come back, and now they could play the 2 minute and 3 minute, 4 minute songs when their bowels have been emptied.
Well, they were probably doing a number 2.
Okay.
All right. So let's do this. That takes care of Sticky Fingers from 1971. Why don't you start off with Exile on Main Street from 1972?
Okay, so for Exile on Main Street from 1972, Hollywood selected 2 songs. How many did you select, Dirty Jim?
3 songs.
Ooh. Oh, man. Okay.
All right.
Let me start with mine then. Okay, so the first song that I selected is called Tumbling Dice. Now, this is a slower mid-tempo song that you can easily listen to while taking a relaxing road trip. To me, I hear this song, it's a fun rock and roll song, it has a bunch of female background singers who sound great. So it's one of those songs that you just jump in your car, lower your windows, and let the fresh air blow through your hair and let the dirty sounds of the Stones just wash over your ears. Tumbling Dice is making the playlist.
See what you just did? You just offended some of our listeners.
How so?
Let the wind blow through your hair? Are you anti-bald?
Okay, let the fresh air blow through your skull, your face.
Okay, all right. I'm listening to you talk, and I'm thinking we just lost half of our listeners, especially around our age.
Exactly, right?
Well,
all right, so that's my first song. Did you select Tumbling Dice?
I was just about to tell you that. Now let me build the drama up a little bit. Like, did he do it? Did he not do it? Yes.
All right.
I did.
We agree.
I did select it. Do you know Beast of Burden?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's from 1978, Some Girls album, same band, Rolling Stones. If you play the beginning of Tumbling Dice and the beginning, Did you notice?
Yes, I did.
It is a slightly more souped up version of Beast of Burden.
Yeah, it's basically the same progression.
Yes, exactly.
Chord progression.
Exactly. Yeah. And I noticed that. I'm like, wait a second. Why does it sound like he's about to sing Beast of Burden? But it's got a great medium tempo, sexy groove. I love this song. And just to let you know that if we were picking favorites, this would be mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're putting it out there right away. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know. I don't want the people out there to wonder what my favorite song is. This was it. Now tell me, What is your second one that you picked out of your... What's the second one you picked out of your two?
Okay. The second one I picked is called Happy. Now, when I first heard this song on the radio when I was a kid, I thought that Mick Jagger sounded a little different on this song. Until I heard a DJ on one of those local classic rock stations in Connecticut mention that it was actually Keith Richards singing on the track. So I like this song. It's a really cool rockin' song. I like Keith's voice. It fits it. I love the upbeat tempo because, wait for it, it makes me happy. And Happy is making the playlist. How about you?
I also chose Happy.
All right.
And
2 for 2 on Exile on Main Street.
to me, this is a very upbeat, fun song. Like you said, it makes you happy. And obviously, I chose 3 songs from this album, but the 3 that I chose on the album are all very danceable. Not for me, but for those that can actually dance. But
That's right. We're not mentioning that you would be dancing in your...
No, we're not mentioning that at all.
We're not mentioning that phrase.
But as far as dancing, like in my head, I feel the rhythm, but the synapses don't translate to my feet.
To your legs and hips.
Yeah. So I leave dancing to those that can, and also those who think they can and probably shouldn't. But I cannot dance, but all these 3 songs that I chose, in Tumbling Dice is kind of more sexy, slower song, and Happy is more upbeat. And I can imagine that the girls and probably some guys at the concerts in 72 were dancing away to these songs from this album.
Absolutely.
So the third song that I chose from this album, let me just write it down because I'm keeping track for us. And the third song is the very first song on the album. I don't think it is. I think this might be like I'm not even going to guess, but the name of the song is Rocks Off.
That is the first song.
I thought it was the first song.
Yeah.
And besides this strange breakdown that they do between the 2-minute and 11 to 2-minute and 35-second mark, it's just a good time, boogie down, 60s style rock and roll song. I love it, and I thought it would be kind of cool because it's one of those offbeat songs that probably didn't make any of the greatest hits. And I like it, and I think it'll work out great on the playlist.
Yeah, I think so too. That actually was on my list as I was cutting through songs, and I was like, okay, Rocks Off is on my... It was like on that first, sheet, that first draft of songs, and as I was going through, I was cutting a couple songs here and there. Unfortunately, it got cut from my list. But yeah, it definitely would have been an honorable mention if we're going to put it that way.
Okay, well, very good. Why don't we move on down to Goat's Head Soup from 1973?
All right.
And I will ask you, how many songs? Oh, you know what? Let me tell you first, because you told me first last time.
All right.
I chose 2 songs from this album.
I feel it coming, dude. Here it is. I also selected 2 songs. And I bet we chose the same exact songs.
I bet we didn't.
Really? Okay.
I bet you chose one. I know which one it's going to be. It's going to be the first one that I'm going to mention in a second.
Okay.
But I have a feeling you chose the other ballad from this one, and I did not.
Okay, go ahead.
Matter of fact, I booted the ballad for Can't You Hear Me Knockin'.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because it was between the ballad and Can't You Hear Me Knocking, and I booted the ballad because I said, I got to have, even with that long instrumental part at the end, this is just a great song. So I booted the ballad, which you're going to tell us about in a minute. But my first song from this album I chose is a little ditty called Heartbreaker.
Oh, hold on a second. I don't think that's the name of the song. Why don't you give them the full title?
You know what? I could. It's like do 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 or something like that, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing the do 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 part. It's just Heartbreaker. Everyone knows it's a Heartbreaker. I didn't even know the song had do 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 in the.
Oh, you missed a do.
Oh, did I miss one do?
Yeah, there's 5 do's.
I'm sorry. So it's a whole bunch of do's, and then Heartbreaker is like, it's almost like the second name for the song, but no one knows it as that. I don't think that whenever they played it on the radio, I doubt they ever even mentioned the do's.
That's true.
You know? But anyway, to me, the song is called Heartbreaker, and it's just a gritty rocker with some serious Jagger attitude. I love the song. That is my first choice. I'm assuming it's also your first, but let us know.
So my first song that I selected is Do Do, Do Do, Do, Heartbreaker.
Not aware of that one.
So this song, it starts with this distorted organ sound and this guitar wah-wah pedal. Just the combination of those, just awesome intro to the song. I totally dig it. And I love when they get to the second chorus. You hear this powerful trumpet section that's introduced and heard throughout the rest of the song. This is, to me, it's just an awesome song. I mean, it would be a crying shame and a heartbreaker if we left this song off the Gen X playlist.
Oh, do.
But it's a coming with and making the playlist. I love it.
Well, let me tell you what my second song is that's also making the playlist, whether you agree or not, Angie. That's not the song. That is not the song, but I know that's your second one. But here is my second song, and my only other song from this album is, and this might be the last song on the album, maybe the sixth song, I can't remember, but it's Silver Train. Yeah, it's just a solid rocking, kind of backwoodsy, good time jam from start to finish. I love it. And when I first went through these albums, I didn't even remember hearing Silver Train. And when I went through them again, I was like, wow, this is a pretty good song. So that is my second song. Did you also choose Silver Train?
I did not choose Silver Train.
I did not think so.
But I did choose one other song from Goat's Head Soup from 1973, and the title is Angie. I have to say, this is absolutely my favorite ballad by the Rolling Stones. Hands down. And I think so many people who are Stones fans, even casual Stones fans, will agree. Angie is an amazing song. I mean, there's so many awesome things I could say about the song. I mean, there's a combination of piano and acoustic strumming that's really cool. And of course, Mick Jagger and his vocal phrasing during the song. It's so good. And then I love the sound also of the orchestrated violins and that middle piano solo through to the end of the song. And all I have to say is, dirty! Na, 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 na. Dirty, ain't it good to be alive?
I gotta tell you, if that was the lyrics, I probably would have chose it, because how could I not?
It's your name in the song.
That's right. If my name was Angelo, I would have chose it.
Anyway, this is an awesome song, guys. It's Angie is absolutely making the playlist.
I agree that it is the best ballad that the Stones do, and it was borderline honorable mention for me, but I had to boot the ballad for Can't You Hear Me Knocking.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on. You're all done, right? That was your second song.
Yep.
All right. And let's move down to the fourth album, fourth of 5 albums. It's Only Rock and Roll from 1974.
Okay, so for me, It's Only Rock and Roll. I chose 2 songs.
I chose 3 songs.
Really? Okay.
I can't even think of which one you left off here, but I guess I'll find out in a minute.
All right, here we go. So the first song that I selected is Ain't Too Proud to Beg. Now, this is a cover of the Temptations' classic song, and I do really like the Temps version. You have that gritty vocal delivery by David Ruffin. I always loved his voice. But Mick Jagger himself, he does a great job on this song. The Stones version of this track, it's just a little bit faster, and to me it works. And this track is going to be a nice addition to the playlist. So Ain't Too Proud to Beg is my first song off of It's Only Rock and Roll. And Dirty Jim, did you also select Ain't Too Proud to Beg?
I did.
All right.
And just like what you said, Mick pulls you in right out of the gate. This is a great song. And really, the album title says it all. It really is Only Rock and Roll. It's so good. Actually, it kind of fits in. Each album kind of has their own theme to it, you know? And this one here was had a lot of little rockers on it. But Ain't Too Proud to Beg is also my first song.
All right, then. So I chose 2 songs, so my second song is the title track. It's only rock and roll, but I like it. And every time I hear this song,
Oh, boy.
it makes me think of the video. Oh, man. I mean, I know it's the 70s. It's 1974, and MTV wasn't around, but going all the way back to the 60s, you even have the Beatles were making videos, and they were essentially promotional for record companies and to kind of send to different, TV shows or whatever. But this song had a video. And in the video, I don't know if you remember this, Dirty Jim, but
no.
they're performing. No, listen to me explain it. And you may have some sort of recollection because they're performing inside of a black and white striped tent, and they're all dressed in Navy sailor boy outfits. And in the middle of the song, you start seeing the tent fill up with laundry soap bubbles as it's getting higher and higher, and the bubbles completely cover over Charlie Watts on the drums. He's forced to stand up. The other guys are laughing in the video. It's a hilarious video. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube. It's funny. You even see Keith Richards. He's missing a front tooth at this point in his life. And he's smiling and singing along like he doesn't care what people think about his missing tooth. But it's a super fun sing-along song. Again, it's only rock and roll, and I don't just like it, I love it. That's my second track.
All right.
Did you also select the title track, Dirty Jim?
I also selected the title track.
Yes, we matched on 2. All right.
And pretty much just like the first one, the album title says it all. I mean, this song is rock and roll. I love it. It was not my favorite one on this playlist, obviously, because that was Tumbling Dice. But this was, and still is, and probably always will be, a great song. I'm sure even the people in the extraterrestrials will love this song. And I'm sorry that Hollywood maybe offended you at the beginning of this episode. So that's it. You chose 2 for this one, right?
Those are my only 2, so you have one more.
I have one more, and that song is... Can you guess what the song might be? Do you remember?
Maybe, let's see, was 100 years on there?
No, I don't remember it.
Okay. No, I don't know what song it could be.
All right, the last song that I chose from this album is a little song called... Actually, little is in the title. Dance, Little Sister.
Oh, my God. Right away, Dirty Jim, you know the exact reason why I did not select this song. Tell the audience why I did not select this song.
Repetition, repetition, repetition.
Oh, my God. Oh. And the thing is, I kind of like the song, but he says dance, little sister, dance like 52 times in the song.
I have a little thing here, and it says, by the end of this one, there will be no question what the name of the song is. and to me, it's just good old-fashioned up-tempo rock. I love the song. The repetition doesn't really bother me because the music behind it I liked. And I'm not really I mean, of course, AC/DC sometimes gets on my nerves when they do that at the end. It's like after every single solo, it just repeats the song title for the end of the song constantly. But I like the song, and there's nothing you could do about it now, Hollywood. It's on the playlist.
I guess that's gonna be one of my skip songs with techno. You're skipping Michelle from the Beatles. I'm skipping Dance Little Sister Dance. I'm just being honest.
I'd like to do a lot more than skip Michelle from the Beatles, but I can't.
Ooh, you're being dirty.
No, this wasn't dirty at all. That was just mean. It was just me being mean. All right. So we got one more album. The last of 5 albums is Black and Blue from 1976, and this is the only album that Mick Taylor was not on because he quit the band.
Yeah, he quit the band, and actually the Stones, when they were going through this, actually they decided that Keith Richards was going to play essentially all the guitar parts. There were a few kind of guest guitar players on there, and they kind of used Black and Blue as, according to Keith Richards, like an audition for new guitar players. And so there's a lot of jamming on the album, but when it comes to Black and Blue, Dirty Jim, this one's yours. Why don't you go ahead and you take it?
All right. Well, as we said, Mick Taylor quit, and in support of my favorite guitarist from the 70s, I decided not to choose any songs from this album. Or maybe it was because none of the songs really agreed with my sophisticated musical palette. But I chose not to do any song from this album. How about you?
Okay, so for Hollywood, from Black and Blue, 1976, I chose none songs.
You know,
that's none.
Really, I was thinking, you got the first song, you've got the first album, and even 1 through 4, some good songs on these albums. And then I got to Black and Blue, and I'm thinking, you'd think that they would have progressed with the next album, and it's almost like they regressed in this album.
Well, yeah, if you look at kind of some of the remarks about the album and the reviews, this was a badly reviewed album, and even fans, they were really split on this. They just got a number of negative reviews. Some people really liked the change in direction because it was kind of a jammy album, but nothing really stood out as exciting and just, like you said, there was nothing pushing the band forward on this particular album that was different and unique to kind of make it a hit on the radio. So it kind of just laid there. And Black and Blue, to me, it didn't resonate with me, but it doesn't matter. We have an awesome list of songs. So Dirty Jim, why don't you tell us how many songs we selected that are going to make the ultimate Gen X rockin' mixtape playlist?
Well, hold on, because I do have another honorable mention that we did not mention before. But I also wanted to say, from the Black and Blue album, do you remember the song "Fool to Cry"?
Yeah, I do remember that song. I mean, I really wasn't a fan of it. I did hear it on the radio back in the day a little bit here and there because it really wasn't the big Rolling Stones, one of their big hits. But you did hear it on like HCN, WHCN, or CCC here and there. So I was familiar with the song when I heard it again this time around here in Black and Blue. But still, I'm not a huge fan of the song.
I like it. Like I thought Mick did some interesting things with his voice, but the reason why I mentioned this song is that one of my favorite movies, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's called Beautiful Girls from 1996.
Yeah, never heard of it.
You got to see it. It's like a high school reunion, like a 10-year high school reunion where this group of people all get together. Matt Dillon's in it, Timothy Hutton, Lauren Holly, Natalie Portman, Uma Thurman, Mira
Is this
Sorvino.
one of those kind of Brat Pack skin flicks that you would only see on Cinemax?
Absolutely not. This is a great movie. You would actually like this because you would remember all of us getting together because these guys all partied together. But Mira Sorvino's in it. Michael Rappaport, you know him?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
And even Rosie O'Donnell played a good part in this.
Come on, really?
I swear, you got to see this movie. But this part was kind of I believe it's kind of in the movie where everything's being resolved and it's coming towards the end of the movie, and this song was on it. And it sounds really good on the soundtrack for this movie during that part. I wouldn't put it on this. It's not an honorable mention or anything, but that's how I remember this song from that movie.
Okay. All right.
So everyone out there, including you, Hollywood, go watch Beautiful Girls from 1996. But here is my honorable mention, and it is off the Sticky Fingers album. You are going to absolutely hate it.
Oh, boy.
But I love it, and the reason why I love it is me and James McCowan, and I believe Tom Foley also, because both of them did play guitar, and we would do acoustic versions, but we would rock it up a little bit. And my honorable mention song from Sticky Fingers is a song called Dead Flowers.
Oh, brother.
I love it, man.
Okay.
and in this, like on the album, it's a lot of bit country, but I still love it. And like I said, we played it in the band. We rocked it up a little bit. It has a great chorus. Next time you come down here to visit, I'll get a guitar. We'll play it. We'll rock it up a bit. And I think you will also agree. But that is my second honorable mention along with Can't You Hear Me Knocking.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. So let's get into the numbers here. So where are we at? What are the songs? What are people going to hear added to the Ultimate Gen X Rockin' Mixtape playlist?
We have combined, you and I, 14 songs.
Ooh, I was off by one. Oh, okay. So we did match on 6. We matched 6 songs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, we matched 8 songs.
Well, because I...
you're putting in honorable mentions as
just
well,
that
right?
one. Can't You Hear Me Knocking?
Okay,
So-
otherwise it would have been 13.
Yeah, it actually would have been...
No, it would have been 12.
Yes, it would have
Right,
been 12.
it would have been 12, but we're
Right.
putting in... Well, yeah, Can't You Hear Me Knocking was one of my songs anyway.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Okay, wow. Okay, so go ahead and list all the songs that are on the list now.
Okay, so from Sticky Fingers from 1971, we both chose Brown Sugar, Bitch, and Can't You Hear Me Knocking. You chose Wild Horses, and my second honorable mention with Can't You Hear Me Knocking was Dead Flowers.
Right.
From Exile on Main Street from 1972, we both chose Tumbling Dice and Happy, and I chose Rocks Off.
All right.
From Goat's Head Soup, 1973, we both chose Do Heartbreaker.
Good, I'm glad you said it.
I chose Silver Train, and you chose Angie.
Yes.
And then from 1974's It's Only Rock and Roll, we both chose Ain't Too Proud to Beg and It's Only Rock and Roll. And I chose Dance Little Sister. And those
right.
are the 14 songs. Neither one of us chose anything from Black and Blue, although I did talk about Fool to Cry and the movie Beautiful Girls from 1996.
So I do have a couple honorable mentions, not in the musical category, but just a couple honorable mentions for song titles. Because it just kind of made me turn my head. Like, they have a song, I already forget which album it was on, but I just wrote it down. It's called Turd on the Run.
You know what? I didn't see the names of the songs because I was just playing them as I was doing stuff. So I didn't see Turd. I think that I probably went to the iPad at the time, and if I didn't like a song, I just went and clicked to the next one.
Yeah, this one, Turd on the Run, it just paints a vivid picture in your mind's eye. I don't think I want to see that picture again.
Right now in my mind's eye, I picture a turd running away from whatever it's running away from, and it's probably wearing tidy whities.
With that cartoon, legs.
Yep.
And the other honorable mention was Ventilator Blues. Now, obviously, this track was done back in the 70s, but the track seems more poignant now than ever for these guys as they're in their 80s now.
Didn't Keith quit smoking?
You know what? I have no clue, but he is shocking the whole rock world that he's still alive.
He shocked himself.
Yeah, everybody predicted that he would be one of the first, rock and roll guys, out of the Stones to die. This guy is holding on. He's holding on.
He wakes up every morning and he's like, got him again.
Good for you, Keith. So that does it for all our songs. And actually, that is our very first Make Me a Mix on the GTFO podcast featuring the Rolling Stones from 1971 to 1976. We're going to get back to the Stones sometime in the future, but we're also looking forward to doing plenty of other Make Me a Mix reviews in between other album reviews. So maybe every couple months we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop in a Make Me a Mix episode. But we'd love to do stuff, a Make Me a Mix for bands like Alice Cooper or The Who, The Grateful Dead, Faster Pussycat, Queen, Foreigner, LA Guns, Eagles, Heart. There's so many bands that we have on our list that they have a plethora of albums where we can just do a mix and of just good rockin' tunes that we think you guys are going to enjoy. So with that said, Dirty Jim, do you have anything else to say about our Make Me a Mix episode?
No, all I got to say is that's 14 really good songs joining this playlist.
Absolutely. So, Dirty Jim, why don't you go ahead and mention our companion episode, as well as what amazing music we're going to be reviewing next time.
All right, well, if you haven't done it yet, go check out our companion episode, which is from 1983, Def Leppard, Pyromania. And in about 15 days or 2 weeks, whichever comes first, you can listen to Journey's 1981 just blockbuster album, Escape. And this is a freaking great album, although he has many great albums. 1987 Dio, Dream Evil.
Ooh, that's going to be a good companion episode release.
Well, you know what's nice about that? You got Journey, which is it's feel-good rock and roll, and then you got Dio, which is just smack you in the face metal.
Metal, right? Yeah, so we got something for everybody each time that we release double episodes on the 1st and the 15th of the month. So, guys, go ahead, hit the subscribe or follow button on Spotify or your favorite podcast platform. That way you can be notified when new episodes are released on the 1st and the 15th. And also, if you'd like to send us an email with comments or suggestions, go ahead and send it to getthefluffoutpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can go to feel free to comment on our social media pages. They're on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can just simply type in the search field, Get the Fluff Out Podcast, and you can find us and make your comment. Or simply go directly to our beautiful website, www.getthefluffoutpodcast.com.
And some of our sound effects we do ourselves, but the ones we don't, we get off of a site called zapsplat.com. And the music in our intro is from a site called looperman.com. And it is a combo of 2 loops. The first one is a drum loop from HP Records called Vintage Kit 2. And the second one is a guitar loop from GeoMoon called Groovy Rock Guitars Loop Riff.
And the outro music that you're hearing right about now is called Elysian Fields by our band Forced Entry from 1988, copywritten by Hollywood and Dirty Jim. So we want to thank everyone for carving out some time in your busy schedule to listen to the Get the Fluff Out podcast and to get a little Gen X nostalgic with us. So with that being said, Dirty Jim, we just got the fluff out.
You got that right, Hollywood.